And once again, welcome back. I am your host, Rhonda Klch, and I am so glad that you joined us today. We are coming to you live from the Battle Collective podcasting room, and we are taking the time to interview the people that are making this event possible. So with us right now is my friend, my friend Paul.
Say it right. Say it right.
Clewell.
Thank you.
You know, it wouldn't be a fun event if we didn't get to kind of, goof off behind, I guess we'd say, closed doors. But in all seriousness, I am so glad that you have the opportunity to be part of this team. And, our whole goal at the Battle Collective is to create a family environment where all the speakers really know each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I know that you have such an amazing rich history of really being an entrepreneur and a business owner, and you're a certified 10X. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what we should expect from today's event.
Yeah, who I am, what should you expect? So coming out here, I was driving in the rain, and I thought, what do I really want to talk about, right? So I submitted the slides and all the stuff. I want the people who are here because they want to become better. They want to become better business people, better entrepreneurs, better people. So I thought, the person that may get the most out of this event might be myself. And here's what I mean. When I do a speaking engagement or I'm in front of any type of a crowd, it's always a challenge, right? And you know this.
Yeah.
And you've been there, right? So every time you deliver, we're our worst critics, right? So you come off of a stage or you come out of an event and you go, gosh, I freaking blew that, right? I should have said this. I should have done that. I should have walked over there. So for me, Rhonda, it's about improving ourselves. And I think my goal is for me to come out of this a better person than I was sitting in this seat, right? So I will evaluate myself better than anybody. So I'm here to provide value. I'm here to impart some wisdom, and I say that because I've got more white hair than most people here. Besides the business background stuff, I just have a heart for people becoming who they can be, striving to reach their potential, and I live that every day. So I challenge myself, and I get so excited to come to an event where I can meet the next version of myself, right? So that stokes me. So we'll wake up tomorrow, we'll do our thing here, and then I'll go in the restroom, and I'll look in the mirror, and I'll go, nice to meet you. Great job, or you fucking blew it, right? So long story short, that's why I'm here. So that's who I am. I'm here to just make everybody's lives better, day by day, but I'm part of that process. So I'm following the herd, even though at times I'm also leading that herd. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think, the biggest value that everybody who's participating in the Battle Collective as a student is the ability for them to connect to the mentors. And I think that's what is so important. I've spoken to everybody that's here, and we all have something different that we're bringing to the table. As a total, there are 10 speakers.
Yeah.
And with those 10 speakers, they all have a certain discipline that they are skilled in. Mm-hmm. And what I'm looking forward to the most is really watching how the students connect, because this is very hands-on. We talked about this, and Sean and I were just, talking about it a little while ago as well. This is an immersive experience.
Yeah.
We have students that are coming here, and we're not here to be cheerleaders and pat them on the back and be like, yes, you can do it, you're a rock star. There are stages where that's appropriate, but the way that this has been created, it's about creating value and alliances and really having people be vulnerable and admitting to what they need help with, because they cannot grow without it.
I am so glad you just used the word vulnerable. So this is the word vulnerable or vulnerability. It's one of my keynote talks that I do. And because if I were to ask an audience, or if I ask you, when you hear the word vulnerable, what other words come to mind? Most people will say, weakness or empathy or, all these words that have this like negative connotation. When you finally realize that once you allow yourself to be vulnerable and you just start sharing the real freaking you, and you get authentic and you get raw and you meet people right where they are in their tracks with the power of vulnerability, people relate.
Yeah.
People relate because there's not a single person that's going to be in that room tomorrow who's going to, we've all experienced imposter syndrome, right? And this is part of tomorrow too.
Yeah.
So that's like my mantra is I'm going to meet you right where you stand today. I may say something to you that is not politically correct. I may not use the best tact, but I'm going to say something about you that digs right into your heart. And it's going to force you to search those dark places inside and figure out, who am I? What am I doing? What do I want to achieve? And one of my dear friends, who's a former CIA operative, if you will, she's got some like Jedi master shit tricks that she does. And she said to me, she said, when you search those dark places inside, this is the vulnerability piece, you search those dark places inside and you feel like sometimes you're being buried until you realize that you've been planted.
Yes.
Right?
Beautifully said.
Right?
Beautifully said. And I think that what happens is that if everybody was just on a status quo and everybody just lived every day like the day before
Yeah.
and the next day,
Yeah.
nobody's learning.
Right.
Everything is just there. Vulnerability is where your growth and your strength comes from.
That's it.
Exactly what you're saying. And I challenge people all the time that if you're not uncomfortable, you're not working hard enough.
That's it.
And I'm a victim of that. I can say it to others, but I then have to remind myself that I have to follow my own advice.
You do.
And a big part of that problem, and I say it like that, or challenge, is finding the people to take on the journey with you.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping is that with this event and with the students that we have that are attending, that they now find their new power partners and their new accountability partners. Because, I had this conversation with somebody, and it could have even been you. When you are trying to be top dog and you're in your own little environment, nobody really wants to see you succeed.
It's a lonely place.
It's a very lonely place. So when you're the top in your community and you're not going to go anywhere, how do you elevate? How do you grow from there?
You don't.
And the answer is you don't, or you need to step out and you need to find groups like the Battle Collective
That's it.
and other organizations that are there to lift you. And what I've found, what works for me, is that my accountability partners are other women that are not in my community.
Yeah.
They're all over, they're strategically planted all over the United States because we're not competing against each other for that number one
Well,
position.
And I think just geographically scattered, but also philosophically and in career advancement. Like, I think I
Yeah.
said to you the other day when we were texting, you were telling me about your background, where we
Yeah.
were getting to know each other. And I said, just remember, don't compare your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter
Yeah,
13.
absolutely.
Because you can't do that, right? Your chapter 13 is coming,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't look at somebody who's already at chapter 13 and say, oh, why aren't I there yet? So like with a lot of the business owners and CEOs and COOs that I coach, I tell them all the time, I said, look, I said, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of that CEO bubble, to your point. If you don't have anybody around you that's going to help you elevate, where do you go from there? And I tell them, get so far outside of your comfort zone that you don't know the way back anymore, because somebody's going to come alongside you.
Yeah.
But you have to get out of your bubble, right? You have to get out of your bubble. You could be the wizard behind the curtain. Don't turn back the curtain, right? And they're cranking the wheels and whatever it is he does in the movie. But usually you pull that back and you find this person who's got the same exact weaknesses, the same
Yeah.
fears as the rest of us, and they have title CEO or COO, but so what, dude? What does that have to do with who you are as a person and the journey you're on and the impact you could have on somebody else who's on their own journey?
100%. And, we learn so much, I think, when we travel, right? You travel a lot, I travel a lot. And it goes back to just meeting amazing people and trying to really embrace what value they add, just in general, right? Just in general. And I think that I'm really looking forward to everybody participating, and I'm really looking forward to the end result so that I want to be able to say, I helped make that happen, and I was part of that person's success.
Absolutely.
So I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
today.
Appreciate
Rockstar.
it.
Until next time, stay tuned. We're getting ready to bring you another guest.